Hello, everyone, once again. Hope you're doing well. The first thing I want to direct your attention to is the due date, which is May 5th at midnight. So that's next Tuesday. And the reason why I'm doing that is because people said they wanted more time. But I didn't want to give you more time by assigning it earlier in the week and then saying, okay, that work week, Monday through Friday, is the time you have to get it done. I think keeping Wednesday as like the history day instead of dropping it in while you're getting a ton of stuff from other classes earlier in the week is a bad strategy. I like keeping Wednesday, Thursday as the history days, and then if for some reason you ran out of time, you didn't get it done during those days, you have the freedom, you have the flexibility to get it done later on. I'll talk about that and a couple other things in an update video that's coming out, so look for that. But now let's take a look at this assignment. So the title is Ending the War. The essential question is how did the events ending the Second World War impact future events? So last week we looked at the Holocaust as like an aftermath of the Second World War, and I think that's a unique way of looking at it. It's the way the book phrased it, but this lesson, these two parts, are more accurately the aftermath of the Second World War. So part one is using Satori. Yippee, another technology you have to learn how to use, but it's pretty dang intuitive. It's really not something you have to learn. It's much more just explore. It's fairly simple, and of course this link will get you started on it. Of course, getting started is always the hardest part, but you're going to make a timeline. Click on that link to see what it looks like, how it works, but you're going to make a timeline based on one or all of these links. Once again, one or all of them. I recommend this one, the Atlantic one, and the CNN one. Both of those are helpful, and I'm trying to save time. So now, one thing I want to remind you is this is what you have to have on that Satori site, okay? 8 entries with an image of any kind, 2 sentences of explanation, and then the quiz questions. The extension question, I should slow down on this. The extension question is basically like an I wonder question. That is where you are asking me, the person who's grading you, to think about how those events impact the future. How might those events set up stuff that will happen in the future, which you'll learn about by looking at the sources, but also how can it help me understand the world around me better? How can those experiences, those events, change the way I think about events in the present? Okay, past to present connections is, to me, what history is really all about. Your image of any kind. That means it can be a picture from the time period, but it can also be a picture, a meme, a GIF, whatever, as long as it relates to, as long as you in your head can connect that event to the picture that you put in there. Now, part 2 is where we really get into more depth with the essential question. How are we impacting the future? How are we impacting the present from the Second World War? The human impact. This is basically the question that's an answer to the question that people in the time period were left with. You know, this huge, big life and death struggle ends, and now they're like, okay, what do we do? Right? We were fighting for our lives for 4 or 5 years. Now what? You know, that's a big contrast. That's a big change when you go from something that is so fast paced to slowing down that much. Now, the Free Right United Nations, that's more the political impacts. This is really where the Second World War has its greatest impact on the future, on things going forward. And basically, with these 3 questions, I want you to just learn the basics in the United Nations. It's a simple 1 minute, 30-second video. You'll probably have to watch it a couple of times to answer these. And then you're left with this one optional question. And that's a real big extension question. Email me if you have questions, if you want to go that extra mile. So I hope you're doing well. I'm looking forward to doing some new things this week. Talk to you later.